Hey everybody, back at the shop again. Jim with Sanderson Plumbing, Mechanical, Electrical, and Sanderson Home Services. So I wanted to show you a little bit more about our tankless water heater and some of the things that we find when things are not maintained. So I do two things. One, I break things down sometimes for scrap if it's worth it, if we have some extra time at the shop. Two, sometimes I also break things down to dove a little deeper into why a product or a system has failed. So today what I wanted to show you is on our Noritz NRC 1111, the induced draft motor, which is also the, basically they call it the fan motor. It basically serves two purposes. One, the purpose of the unit is to pull combustion air in, and two, also for exhaust. So let me show you a little bit on this one. We pulled this fan motor out, and if you notice on the inside of here, the amount of heavy debris and everything else on the fan shroud, things of that nature. If you look inside of here, if it were spinning, you'd see it a little bit more clearly. But what I wanted to show you is inside of this portion. Right now, typically your system would look like this if it's in the upright position, but now we have it upside down. We have our fan off, so this is the bottom of the unit, and you can see the amount of heavy debris that's inside of there. Unfortunately, even when we do high pressure nitrogen cleaning, we cannot always get all of that out. So that just gives you somewhat of an idea of what we're dealing with. Again, it's upside down now. What we're doing is we're actually going to be separating the burner chamber from the heat exchanger. So I'll show you that in a few moments. And that is being held on by, I think it's 12 screws total, but we're going to show you, I already have half the screws out. Okay, so we got the rest of the screws out, and I'll show you what we got going on here. So this is our heat exchanger. That is what's getting superheated during the time that your system is on and running. And as you can see, we have some areas of superheating where it is overly it's being overly heated. Secondly, this is the portion of the heat exchanger where the flames come out. Okay, as you can see, some of these very, very fine holes can get plugged, and I'll show you that a little bit more in detail here in a moment. I wanted to comment on our last video. Sometimes when we're also cleaning out the heat exchanger, what we will do sometimes is we will remove this assembly right here, which is your igniter assembly. We'll remove that. Sorry about the background noise. We'll remove that so that way we can gain access in and actually push some nitrogen through that portion of the port as well. So this is our spark igniter. Typically, it will do two things. One, you notice these little two blue wires. They actually would normally connect to this, which is our flame sensor. However, this also is a portion of the flame sensor as well right here. And that can also be cleaned off. I would always recommend cleaning that as well, even though it's a part of your spark ignition. I've never really had an issue. I always clean them, and then making sure that is cleaned off as well. You only want to use a little bit of a very fine sand cloth, pulling in one direction towards the tip and not going back and forth. So here's an area of the heat exchanger that you'll never see. This is the heat exchanger itself, okay? Right down here is where your gas is going into the combustion chamber, comes into here. It's ignited, it's going and it's blowing hot gases, or it's getting hot, excuse me, because of the gases. Simultaneously, these were the holes that were always plugged. Now, remember, this is your air intake as well. So when these little holes are plugged because of lack of maintenance, that's plugging your system. More importantly, now this is the front of the unit. You see where it has been superheated. Yes, the metal is actually starting to get, crunchy. It's actually cracked here and cracked there. And that is not from us taking it apart. That is actually the unit being cracked. So I always let everybody know, maintenance on tankless water heaters is very important. Your overall life expectancy on a tankless should be 20 plus years, okay? 10, you should making sure that you're maintaining it. I have people that say, 10 to 12 years for a tankless water heater, but that's not, we've always exceed that life expectancy with proper maintenance and cleaning. But as you can see, there are many parts in here. However, water heaters, they can experience very similar issues based upon the type of water heater that you have. But more importantly, if this has a issue where the heat exchanger cracks or something of that nature, at least it only drips a little bit. Unlike a standard water heater, that when it goes, it's going to go and it's going to flood your basement most of the time. And some of you other plumbing and mechanical guys out there, you can testify to what I'm saying. But again, it's all dependent upon the customer's needs. And if you're a customer that's watching this, feel free to always reach out to us. You can reach us at 248-467-1761, Sandison.co. Again, SANDISON.co. That is our website. You can feel free to reach us there as well. And listen, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to reach back out. Right now, the inside of our unit, though, this is where the fan mounts, and it's blowing, it's exhausting right through here, okay? Just so you can kind of have an idea of what the shell of the unit looks like. Then, just FYI for you as well, I did forget to show you this. I'm about to take this portion apart. This is our secondary heat exchanger, and we're about to separate our copper from our primary heat exchanger in the next video.